we also chatted about, how to study or where you get this information. Have you found some places for study material a little better than others?
Um, yeah. Well, so I'm a practical learner,
Hmm.
and I think that's probably from a studying perspective. What's the most important thing that you're looking at? I think you have to know how you learn.
Hmm.
I think if you know how you learn, then you can figure out how to study. I'm a practical learner. I want hands on a keyboard. I want to see the thing happening, or create a web app, or write a store procedure, or integrate a data plan, or lock someone down in security. I want to see that, feel that, right?
Hmm.
Um, that's that's the way that I learn. Some people learn by book. Some people learn by lecture. You know, our company has a relationship with Udemy, a business subscription to Udemy. If you like lecture, they have a lot of great um, lectures that are out there from that. Some people like to just sit and read documentation all day long. I can learn that way. But what's I think really beneficial is give me a tutorial on how something works, and I can walk into it and go, oh, okay, this is what it looks like, and here's this thread, and here's that thread, and then I take what I learned from that and evaluate it against either a vendor's uh, prepared test, sample exam or sample questions regarding this specific thing, or I find sample questions out on the internet, and
Hmm.
say, could I answer these effectively? And I think in a lot of cases, it helps. Like I said, you have to know what you learn or how you learn before you can do that. Um, Also, be very conscious of the fact that the exams are changing so fast,
Hmm.
that I mean, it sounds like they're getting quarterly updates. From what I can tell, they're getting quarterly updates to the questions. So where you might know something today and I might know something tomorrow, we might both be right in the exam. So don't look at like brain dumps that are from 2016 or 2018 and think that the questions are going to be the same. They're not. They're continuously improving. Um, I am a big fan of, like I said, practical learning, walking through something, walking through a hands-on tutorial, walking through some documentation saying this is what you do and this is how you do it. Um, I look at that, I always look at the vendor's breakdown of what the questions are going to be, what's the percentage of questions or percentage of the score. I study my time accordingly. Um, and don't study too much. This is you're never gonna hear someone say this, but um, you don't have to be perfect. Don't don't worry about getting a 986 on an exam. Worry about know what the minimum passing score is. Worry about that. These
Hmm.
tests, these exams are all pass fail. The certificate doesn't say what your score is on it. Nobody cares. Your
Hmm.
certificate says that you're certified to work with Microsoft Azure or AWS. They don't care that you got a 786 or a 814 or a 921. They don't care. They care that you're certified. Um, and I'm the same way. If you and I are both certified, I'm not going to ask. I mean, I might ask because I'm kind of a joker about it that way, but I'm not going to really ask from a employer-employee relationship. I want to see the certificate that you passed. Congratulations. That's awesome. I'm glad to see it. So I don't really care how you pass or how much you additionally studied, because that's really what it's doing, is showing how much more you studied than you needed to.
Hmm. I don't want to do a Udemy commercial, but one of those things that I do like about that is if
Mm-hmm.
you start a curriculum,
Yeah.
and I suppose it depends on the instructor, but
Mm-hmm.
I many times you'll get an update saying this has been updated
Yep.
based on new information.
Yep.
So it gives you a chance to go back and review that material if you need
Yeah,
to.
and that's I learned that that was really valuable when I went to do the recertification last fall. So I went through a 103. I went actually, I mean, at the time, I think it was prior to that. It was the um, Microsoft Cloud or the Azure exam before it became AZ 103. And I had to recertify an AZ 103, and it was you have to do it every 2 years. Okay, great. So I AZ-103, and what had happened was is the Udemy course that I had taken 2 years ago, the professor had said, we've rebranded it, it's now this, or the instructor had said, we've rebranded it, it's now this. Here's where it's changed from what you learned before. And that was nice to have that, these 4 or 5 modules that were really the only major changes in the exam. But it was nice to say, okay, so these are the 6 or 7, key components I need to look at in these 4 or 5 modules. And it gives me a way then to go from, hey, we're going to learn about APIs to really you got to talk about API management and security on it and how does it interact with Cosmos, et cetera.
Yeah, one of the things that I've been trying to do too is that if I'm going through some curriculum, whatever it is, if I don't fully understand that section, I force myself to stop and seek out some other clarification or something instead of trying to push forward, because it's all building on top of each other. And if you don't understand that piece, some of that other time might be wasted.
Yep. And that goes back to my statement, read the question in the labs and in the Microsoft exams, because option, your question H in that lab or, task H in that lab might depend on an action that you did in A. They're theoretically supposed to be standalone, but in the architect world, that's not necessarily always the case. So as you read through them all, I need to make sure that this virtual machine sits on this network, because in H it has to be there. But on A, I could create my own virtual network and put on that virtual machine and meet the requirement. But in H, it has to be on this one to support that requirement. So I'm just going to put it there. So those reading through that and understanding what's trying to be accomplished, and more importantly, ask for help. If you don't have a way to reach out to someone and say, hey, could we study with this, or could you help me with this? I mean, there's a lot of people that are out there willing to step up and be certification mentors.
Sure.
That's a huge step, whether it's inside of your organization, inside of your your network, or hey, I found your I found your post on Stack Overflow. Can you ask me, do you mind if I ask you a few questions about this? All of those are ask for help, because people are more willing to help than not. There's always going to be trolls. And I will say this, there's always going to be trolls that are out there. But what I think we're finding is more and more as this is the need for knowledge is accelerating. So too is the desire to say, let's help someone out, because I'm past it doesn't mean that everyone is.
Thank you for watching Stratum's Cloud Interrupted. If you like what you see, please subscribe, like, and share this video.